Welcome back to Julian's garden. It's raining at the moment. It's so dark and yet still so humid. I'm working under my carport. I really need to uppotting or repotting some of my rooted rose cuttings. And then I thought that maybe I'm going to show you the video how to grow rose from cuttings, either from your friends and from your neighbors or from your own rose bush that you already have in your gardens. And this rose I got in here that I took the cutting when they were in dormant, that they were hardwood cuttings. The hardwood cutting when we take the cutting when the cutting or the branches were mature. So I took the cutting when so I choose the stem that they are finished blooming, so I know that the stem were mature. Example, this one, I got 3 cutting in here, only 1 took, and I got 3 bloom. I already take 1 bloom off. Now we recommend not leave the bloom on the young cutting like this because they took so much nutrient from the cuttings. But I want to leave them on here, so because I want to show you. And this one I got 2 cuttings, but only 1 took. The other they were so windy. I just have put the rocks around it, so I don't want it to fall over. And this one I got 4 cuttings, but only 2 cutting tooks. And this medium I use for the cuttings, that I use half of potting mix and half of sand. So they don't have much nutrients in here, so that's why I really want to uppot them or separate them in different container where they have more room to grow. In the future, I might do another video or 2 following up with this video, grow rose from cuttings, because last year when I did this cutting, I didn't have much of experience growing rose from cutting it on what I learned or what my friends share with me. So I'm going to share that with you today as well. But in the future, I will do something different, and then I want to share those experience with you, and you might want to follow that, or you might learn something from those. And so hardwood cutting, they take quite a long time, about 5 or 6 months, for them to grow a little plant that I just showed you. But you can take softwood cutting in late spring to early summer as well, and that's method I think they grow much faster. But also it depends on the varieties of the roses as well, because some they grow in this method, but the other one they grow in different method. You can have more success with the different way. And so it's raining at the moment, so maybe I will take my umbrella out and I'm going to show you how to take the cutting. Alright, so we are at the end of January now. To pretend we are in the middle of winter, and most likely of the rose leaves, there are no leaves on the bushes. And if you look at the bush, you can see on the top I got 2 rose hips here falling down the stem. So you can see that stem is mature because it is several months, or 5 or 6 months already, for them to produce buds and bloom, and so the stem definitely is mature. Very good candidate. And here, so let's take this cutting, that branches off first, and I'm going to bring inside. I'm going to show you. Okay, and I try to take the cutting just above the facing outward bud, so in the future this bud out will leaving out another branch down here. Okay, let me take it and bring inside, or maybe another one down here. Example, this rose bush as well. So you can see a lot of the stem or the branches already mature because it finished blooming, and to pretend they are low leaf on, because most likely they lose their leaf in the winter. Okay, so example, the branches as well. I took the cutting down on the way here. So this one is very good as well. This one, this stem following up here, and I already had the finished blooming on the top, so that means this stem is mature as well. And let me just snap it up real quick. Okay, let me bring in them the inside. So I'm inside now. I got the cutting here. You can see the hardwood cutting is very hard. You hardly to bend it at all. You can test it if you bend it nicely. And softwood cutting, they more a little bit more bendable. Like at this end, you can see it a little bit more bendable. But today I'm going to show you just hardwood cutting. So we want to take this length over 15 to 20 centimeter high for the length of the cutting. And in the winter, of course, mostly there are no leaf on the branches. And so now I just take all the leaf off as well. And all the little bud here, that means no more bud here because they not break out the dormancy yet. And you can see the row hip on the top here that belong to this main stem. So I just remove the branches that they got a flower on. I just remove it. Alright, and here I think I might get 2 cutting from it. And I normally, I will leave around 4 leaf nodes for 1 cutting. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that, I will leave another 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I will have 2 cutting from this. Alright, so I just remove the top off. We don't need the top off. And just cut below the leaf node. See the leaf node here. Cut below the leaf node here to make 1 end. And then I count 1, 2, 3, 4 and cut 1 cutting. So I'm just gonna cut into this cutting into 2, and I can have 2 cuttings. And make sure you, when you cut the cutting, you don't mix up with the bottom ends and on the top end. So normally I just place them, lie them straight down, so I'm not mixing up with them. Alright, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4 leaf nodes and cut. Just on top of the leaf node. Just like this. Very good size. So the size I'm looking for just over the pencil size. And the other end as well. Just like that. And I'm going to prepare this cutting as well. And at the same, I normally leave around 15 or 20 centimeter length of the cuttings. And with around 4 leaf nodes, you can do 3 leaf nodes as well if you think the cutting is not long enough. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm gonna just use this one only for only 1 cutting. So I just cut on the top off. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 leaf nodes. I just cut the bottom end here. I hope you can see clearly though. Okay, so totally here I got 3 cuttings, and here's a medium I'm going to show you. So for the medium, I use the cutting for last year. I use half of potting mix and half of sand. But I recommend to add some perlite to bring some more aerations and drainage, and you still can hold more moisture for the cutting not dry out. So in here, I got 30% of perlite. You should see the perlite, and 30% of sand and 40% of potting mix, and I mix 2 all together. That is very good mix actually. And then I just got something here. I going to poke poke into the medium and to push the cutting in. And so that's it. I just put the cutting in. I will normally I bury 2 leaf nodes of the cutting into the soil or the medium. And then I will water on through, and then I will put the cutting in part shade area. What I mean part shade is the cutting will receive 2 to 4 hours of direct sunlight. So for the hardwood cutting, I will put the cutting in part shade, but for the softwood cutting, I will show you maybe another video in the future that I won't put them in part shade. I put them in bright shade area. That means no direct sunlight at all. But past shade, they still can receive 2 to 4 hours of direct sunlight. And then that's it. You just keep the cutting moist, and you will see the new growth in early spring actually. And you can see some, if the cutting they took, they will starting some new shoot out on the side. So if sometimes you can see some, your cutting can rotten on from the top down at the bottom, and if it rotten from the top down at the bottom, sometimes you still can save your cutting. You can just cut the rotten or the brown bit off just on top of the leaf node, and you still can save your cuttings. As I did for this cutting, let me show you. Alright, so this cutting, I got 2 took in here. Before it was the same height like this one, but when it was so much rain, and I can see that it's rotten away, and I just use the socket here to cut on the top of the new node, and so I just save for this cutting. But if you see the cutting kind of rotten or brown from the bottom, to the top, so that means you can't save it. You can just save the cutting from rotten away from the top down to at the bottom. I hope you understand what I meant. Alright, so after you did the cuttings around 2 and 3 weeks, even 1 or 2 months, and you can see the cuttings start standing out, the new shoots and new leaves, and I would say don't be so excited about that just yet. I was there before, but at this time, the cuttings still have energy, so they still naturally setting down the shoots and the leaves, but then they have no roots yet, so can't provide to hold their leaves on. So I would say after around 4 and 4.5 months, if they're sending out the shoot at all leaves, and I would say you will have an 80% of chance that the cutting will take. So in my experience, for the cutting not take either over water or either to dry out. So for me to control their moisture level, I keep the cutting under the eave in my front yard actually, where they got a few hours of sun in the morning, and so I can control how much moisture or how much water I water them. So because we got so much rain last year, okay, so remember, if you have the area that you can put your cutting in there, and where you can control the how much water you want to give them, that could be great. And don't water them after 2 months, because you took the cutting in the winter. So in the winter, the cutting don't need much of water. They kind of like snipping. So if you water at this time too much, you more likely chance that the cutting get rotten. So I'm not watering, but I use the container analysis, and I got the splitting or spraying analysis. So every 2 or 3 days, I just go around and give them some split of the water. And sometimes I give them twice a day actually. It depends on how dry on the surface they are. And this one sometimes a little bit need a lot of patience actually. If you really want to have a lot of the success rate of go cutting. But if you want to just leave them there alone and to try your luck there, that is fine. But if you really want to have a very good success rate, and you need to keep an eye on them, so don't let the cutting to dry out. So, and after 2 months, is this time we are like in the spring, and you can just start watering them sparingly. You can water them every 3 days, I would say, but sometimes I skip watering them. If I see them soil on the top still moist, and if sometimes we got the rain, but so when it's raining, so we have a lot of moisture in the air, and the soil on the top will not dry out. I just use this one, the splitting bottle like this, to give them some sweet and enough for them to keep their stem moist. And after around 4 months, you do the cutting, and at this time you can give them extra water. And for the cutting, I leave them outside like that in the camper. In camper Australia, sometimes we got so dry. I mean, the weather is so dry sometimes as well. So sometimes I water them every 2 days. That means every second days. Alright, so I'm going to repot these row cuttings because I really want to give them a lot of nutrients and have some room to grow because they stay in this container for a long time. Since last year I did the cuttings and because every time we water the cuttings and the nutrients just leaching out, and plus in this medium I use half a potting mix, half of soil, they didn't have half of sand, sorry, so they didn't have much nutrient in there for the mutton. But so far the cutting doing really well. I did try to tip the container down and keep rolling the container again. Hopefully I won't break their wood too much. Wow, you can see so much wood. Can you see that? I hope you see better. Let me turn the camera around or to a little bit closer. I hope you can see their roots. Very healthy, strong roots with the 2 rows cuttings. So happy about that. And I think I just try to get their topsoil, I mean the top of the medium down as much as possible because I will try to give them extra more potting mix rather than that just very sponge of the medium there because they don't have much nutrient there for the mutton. And let me get the cutting out. Hope you can see their roots look so healthy. But I don't want to break their root bone too much either. So I will keep their old medium in there or their old mix in there. Can you see this? This one even have a stronger roots. Let me get the medium. So if you might know, I use a lot of premium potting mix. So normally I use a Martin premium potting mix. But today I don't have, or I run out of that potting mix. I just use Osmosco potting mix with to put them in each container like this. This container is around 20 centimeter wide actually. And then I just fill halfway of or over halfway of the potting mix in there and lay the cutting in. And I just very gently tamp the cutting down as well. So one go and another one to go. I'm so excited about this cutting. So these are the very deep big red colors. The cuttings from my neighbor. So she gave me last year. She lived very close to me actually, to my place, and she did the cutting, and after that she forgot to bring to my place. So the whole day, 24 hours, she didn't bring to my place after the next day, and then the cutting just stayed dry and wrinkled. I was so disappointed about that. I mean, I was lucky that she tried to save the cuttings for me, but I wish that she could have let me know. I could come over and get the cutting, and luckily the 2 cuttings still takes, but I mean if I got the fresher cutting, I will have more chance for other cutting to rot as well. So I do recommend you use the cutting when you're fresh cutting. So don't leave them out too long after you cut them off the bush. Alright, so I decided I will repot this bowl as well. And I bring them down on the floor here because on the bench, my bench is full of plants and I feel a little bit clouded. So I will tip this container out, and I got this quite large container for this already. And with premium potting mix, I put over halfway through of the container, and then I tip the container out. Very easy actually to tip it out, and you can see how much root it's got. I won't break the root bone because it's not root bound or anything. So I just very gently place the root cutting in the container. I hope you see better. And then I just dress on the potting mix all around it as well. And they're gonna do the same with the other one. Alright, so I recommend when you see the cutting grow in the spring, but it will be better for you to wait the cutting, put some new grow, then like you can see like this, and in the summer, and you will, so that means you will know that they definitely, or the cutting takes, and you don't want to disturb the cutting when they are too too fragile, when they don't have enough of the wood structure. And so one done. And this one as well, I think this one a little bit harder because this one has a lot of sand. Alright. Okay. Very big wood. Okay, you can see got a lot of wood there. I don't want to disturb the wood too much. Right. Make sure you use very good potting mix, okay? And very good drainage for them because they don't like wet feet. And for all the cutting, that I apply for all the floribundle, for all the hybrid rows, you can do the same techniques if you want to do the hardwood cutting as I talked to you earlier. So here is some of my cuttings. This is the softwood cutting. I will make separate video to show you another time. But what I meant, you can see on the top here, I think most of the cutting they already took because it's several months already. And I told you the softwood cutting, it take much shorter time for them to root out. I would say this one definitely gonna grow, this one too, and this one too, and this one too. I lost some cutting in here already. I think I lost one in here, and I lost maybe 3 more in here. But I lost one in here, but this one, the whole one, they're gonna take. Look at that. And you can see the soil on the top, it look quite dry. But so I'm going to give them some splitting. And this one, it's gonna take as well. Look at that. This one, it looks 3 months already. And this one starting to grow as well. I lost 2 cutting in here, but they're looking very good. So if you can see when the soil kind of dry out like this. I hope you see clearly. And I can see here, I just nothing touching my finger like this. And then after that, I give them some water. And I just use some water just spraying all over like this. I think this lot I got about 10 cutting growing here. I mean, they should root it. I know they all rooted now. So, but this cutting, or the type of cutting, I will show you in different video another time. But I just want to show you what I meant when the soil is dry out on the top. Give them some water so you can know the idea. So normally I just kind of keep the cutting kind of let them like this. Okay, and here I got these 2 cutting here not long ago, and you can see I think one already took as well, the other one it kind of shivering and rotting in there. But I would say I still have a lot of cutting took in here. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got 12 cutting hooks in here, plus another one there. And this one I just did recently. I just do some experience, so I just want to show you this lot actually. So that is for the video today. I hope that you learned something new. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have successfully grown rows from cuttings, I would love to hear your experience. And thank you so much for watching, and see you next video. Bye bye.